conduct a public hearing regarding an appeal by the owner agent of the property situated in the city of Alstyne, county of Grayson, state of Texas, being described as College Edition, Block 16, Lot 8, next to 559 Longley Avenue, of the determination by an administrative official of the city that the owner agent must wait at least 12 months for his variance request to be reconsidered instead of having right to resubmit the variance of the zoning board of adjustment if the request to submit is received within 30 days of April the 10th, 2018. Are there any questions or comments regarding this?
Can somebody give the background of what this is about? I mean, what are we
to
accomplishing?
resubmit. This is a public hearing, and because an administrative official of the city said that there was a misunderstanding on the 30-day, 12 months for the various requests. This is being resubmitted since it was a mistake by a city employee to the zoning board of adjustments to resubmit within 30 days, that he could resubmit within 30 days. Are there any questions? Second call. Third, I declare the public hearing closed. Next, we will go to number 3, which is on the same thing. And it's consider and take any action necessary regarding an appeal by the owner agent of the property situated in the city of Alstyne, county of Grayson, state of Texas, being described as College Edition, Block 16, Lot 8, next to 559 Longley Avenue, seeking relief from the determination by an administrative official of the city that the owner agent must wait at least 12 months for his variance request to be considered, and allowing ability to resubmit the variance to the zoning board of adjustment without additional cost if the request to resubmit is received by the city within 30 days of April 10, 2018. This item was submitted by Mr. Kerry Pitts. Are there any questions from council regarding this? Is there a motion regarding this? Robert Gaston?
I move that we grant the appeal as requested to give him a chance to resubmit without cost within 30 days of April 10, 2019.
We have a motion. Is there a second? We have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Abstain. We have 4 for and 1 opposed. Motion passed. Number 4, consider and take any action necessary regarding a request by the owner agent of the property situated in the city of Alstyne, county of Grayson, state of Texas, being described as Gears Number 1 Edition, Block 4, Lot Part 1 and 2, more commonly known as 756 Nash Avenue, for variances in the Alstyne Code of Ordinance, Section 4673D. Height and area regulations in Section 4695, area setback height and coverage regulations, to reduce the minimum building size. The subject property is currently zoned Single Family Residential District 1, SF1. This was submitted by Scott Moody. Scott, would you like to address the council regarding this?
Sure, I can give you an idea of what we're trying to do. I'm Scott Moody, I'm a builder here in town. We've built maybe 15 houses here in Alstyne. Most recently, the 2 out here on 121 as you're leaving on the right-hand side, between here in the park. I'm agent on this for my Aunt Mary Simcoe. This lot and property's been in our family for years. And with the zoning is currently set for an 1,800 square foot building. And that property over there, there's also a storm cellar on the property. It's going to be obtrusive to a very large building if you put one in there. Not to mention that I just went by there. 13 houses on the street do not have garages. 3 houses do. Those 3 were built by my grandpa because he always insisted on parking inside. But anyway, we want to build a nice little 1,400 square foot house similar to these out here on 121. 1,800 square foot, with it being all living and HVAC space, is entirely too big for that area. There's nothing on the street that large. We just want to build a little craftsman style home in there and sell it. And on these houses out here, they were 1,400 feet. And we sold them in one day and had 20 offers on each one of them the second day. That's how hot that Alstyne is right now. And it's hard to find land. This just happens to be in my family. If we don't pass this, I'm not gonna buy it from my aunt, and she would sit on it another 30 years.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the council?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I guess I'd like to comment that I very much want you to develop that. Very on board, and it's something that we very much need. My problem is that this really is not appropriate for a variance request. It's a problem with the zoning that's over in that area. I did look at the rest of the houses that are in that neighborhood, and they're significantly smaller. But I do not believe that this is, it's not for council to approve this as a variance. It's not a variance. There's no hardship that's being put on you. What's wrong is the zoning of the whole neighborhood is inappropriate. I would very much like our P&Z to fix that problem, because we do need to encourage folks such as yourself to develop that area, but it does not fit what our procedures are in reviewing this and approving a variance. So it's just not an appropriate vehicle for it. But I did want you to know that I also feel that what you're doing is highly desirable. It's just there's not a vehicle through the variance request to solve the problem.
Okay, are there any other comments from council? I want to make sure, I just was going to get a point of order to make sure the council understands the point of order. And I did put it with the attorney. It only takes 3 council members to deny this request. It does not take a supermajority to deny it. It takes a supermajority to approve it. Therefore, 4 council members can approve it, and we do have a full quorum here tonight. So I wanted to make sure that you understood the numbers that were needed. Now, Robert, what were you wanting to say?
Okay. To avoid this problem that we just cured right before this one, if this request for variance is denied, according to the ordinance, you can't bring it back for a year, which is, to me, totally unreasonable. Okay. Second point, the fact that the zoning is wrong is a problem, but it is not an easy fix. It is not a short-term fix. And if all these other houses in this area have been built that are smaller, I've been told by several past council members that there was I don't know if it was ordinance, if it was agreement, whatever was passed, that grandfathered a lot of these lots that are too small for an 1,800 square foot house to be on there with the setbacks and all that. These lots were platted, bought, and sold decades before this ordinance was put in place, and to have us adhere to the ordinance without any variances, to me, is totally, if not unreasonable, it is not common sense to adhere to an ordinance that doesn't make sense. And pushing it off on the P&Z, who may or may not do it, is going to further prohibit people like this from buying these lots or selling these lots, which I think the goal here is to bring more houses into the community. So
Yes,
in
but
that,
Let him finish.
well,
I
that's,
can't tell when he's finished, so
It's his
just let him know,
turn.
please.
so, I mean, you know, if we want to adhere to these ordinances that are not conducive or friendly to builders or investors, then, you know, we're going to continue to hear it from the public that we as a council are not doing our job. And I've heard on my time as a council, you know, from the city manager before, that the job is to adhere to the ordinances. The ordinances are in place for a reason, But to me, if the ordinance doesn't make sense, then we need to fix it. And if a short-term fix is to grant this ordinance until the zoning gets changed, I'm for it. I'm for granting the variance.
Okay, you may make one more comment, and then I have a comment. Suzanne?
I guess my point is, you are invalidating P and Z if you do not let them do their job. Our job, the zoning board of adjustment, is not to do zoning, and granting a variance is doing zoning. Now, I think we should hold P and Z accountable to get a move on solution in a very short amount of time, and I do believe we should ask Mr. Moody to come back within that short amount of time. But I have a problem with making a precedence that we invalidate P and Z because we think they're too slow and they couldn't solve the situation, and hence we're going to take on their responsibilities.
Thank you. I have a comment also. Any time that it comes before this board, it doesn't mean that if it were a done deal, it would never come before the council. So not every rule that is made, you can't blanket everything that is done because not everybody sees the same situation nor the way that it is explained. Do you have any comments, Brad?
I can see what both Mr. Jaska and Ms. Crowell are both saying, and I agree with Ms. Crowell that part of that needs to be fixed. We do have some very hodgepodge plotting in that side of town, and we need to see some development in that side of town. So, while I agree with Ms. Crowell that we need to see that get fixed, I also agree with Mr. Jaska that we need to get some development in that area. There's the plots are strange size. You have storm cellars in the middle of the properties that don't really fit, aren't really conducive for single-family homes of 1,800 square feet. So that's where I sit on that.
Lee?
I'm good.
You're good. Are there any more comments from council?
Let me do add that at least if you're going to do this, that you fit the minimum sizes that we've got in place. So I think the request doesn't even meet our smallest sizes.
Okay. Brad?
The one point I will say on all this, what Ms. Crowell is saying, we're talking about reportedly, like, hey, this is something that we should do, but we need to have action on it and actually do it in the future. We can talk about things in these meetings, and I think these are things that we need to do, we need to fix, but we haven't seen any of those get fixed. So I just want to make that last point.
Okay. At this time, is there a motion from anyone on council?
I make a motion that we deny based on what city staff has recommended to us, which is we do not have a basis. There is no demonstrated hardship.
We have a motion. Is there a second? A second call for a second. Third and final call for a second. This motion dies for lack of a second. Is there another motion regarding this item? Robert?
I would like to make a motion that we grant the variance as requested.
We have a motion to grant the variance request. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion from council? All those in favor, please raise your hand. We have 4 in favor. Opposed?
Aye.
1 opposed. It passes. Your variance is granted, Mr. Mead. With that, item. Hold on. Yes, we have a motion to adjourn by Lee. Is there a second? We have a second. All those in favor of adjourning, please raise your hand.
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is our regular city council meeting. Thank you. Well, the meeting of the Alstyne City Council, please come to order. It is 6:44. Call to order. We only have one item on the agenda, and that's consider and take any action necessary regarding a term limit for financing the purchase of an ambulance and equipment for the EMT Fire Department with Governmental Capital Corporation in the amount of $275,000 as authorized by City Council on April 10th, 2018. So the main thing for us to the decision tonight is to choose the term of the ambulance. We have a 5-year term, a 4-year term, and a 3-year term that you receive in your packet. So at this time, is there any discussion from Brad? Oh, okay. You want me to speak to him from that?
Oh, okay. Oh, you were asking.
Do you have any discussion regarding this?
I thought I was getting called out to stay in.
Sorry about that. Is there any discussion from you, Brad?
I had a conversation with one of our citizens the other day, and the question I have is, what is the life expectancy on one of those vehicles?
Well, I can tell you that because I did the research on it. If you want to be rational, we have in our police department a system where we rotate all of these cars and you get a new one every so many years. So I called and checked on that, and typically you get one every 3 years, and 6 years it's out. Well, the one that we have right now, it was purchased in 2014. So it's already 4 years old. If we replace it when it's 6 years old, and remember that by replacing it when it's between 6 years, it's been the only ambulance running for quite some time, because the other ambulance, as we have heard as a council before, has broken down on numerous times. So if this one that was bought in 2014 and has a lifespan of 6 years, we would be purchasing a replacement for it in 2020. So if we do 5 years on this one, we would wind up paying for 2 ambulances at one time. And the equipment has to be replaced also. So if we are ever going to get our ambulance on a rotating system as we do our police cars, like every 3 years, then if we go with the 5 year, we might, every year that we make this payment for that much longer, we have the chances that we're making 2 payments on 2 ambulances, because the one we've got now that we've run for 14 years, which is 4 years, and if its lifespan is 6 years, if it's in a rotation, and it hasn't been in a rotation. So that should be taken into consideration when you're thinking about the number of years you want this note from.
Do you have a plan, Richard, as far as what you're looking at for replacement, rotation?
Yes, my plan is to replace an ambulance every 3 years.
So is it every 3 years?
Yes, that is the goal moving forward.
So we're going to,
What's the return on a 3-year-old ambulance?
For a 3-year-old ambulance?
we have 2 ambulances that would be 6 years.
If we move forward to replace an ambulance every 3 years, we would be replacing the oldest ambulance with right. So it should technically be 6 years.
So we're all ready to time. Okay. Is that you can go first? Okay.
I think Betty Ann makes a good point.
Speak up, please.
I'm sorry, I said I think Betty Ann makes a good point. We'd be better off on this ambulance going as short term as possible to get ourselves in line with, a regular turnover process. The better of the 2 ambulances we have today, I would think that 3 years from now, we should be able to lift the box off that ambulance and just buy a chassis next time around. The box that we have currently on the ambulance that we're getting rid of is too far gone, it can't be saved. So,
But this one, doesn't normally the equipment run out about the same time in 6 years?
Yes, typically, like especially with heart monitors, defibrillators, they by 3 years after you purchased a product, that product, they've come out with newer equipment. They've stopped making the parts for those monitors, and they stop servicing. That's where we're at with our Life Pack 12 that's currently on the ambulance we're trying to get rid of. They don't make parts for it anymore. They don't service it, so you have no choice but to go with something newer.
Do you have anything else to add? Robert?
Well, I understand that also, the fact that we need to get it on a rotation and the 3-year thing would fit better than the 5-year, but what is our cash flow situation, our cash position, can we afford to do that? Because that payment's $36,000 a year more. That would be my concern.
Meeting with government capital next week.
Please speak up.
Said I'm meeting with government capital next week to have a better understanding of these requirements. And then I can answer that at that point in time. What I'm looking for is what term would you like to have, and then I'll go forward.
Anything else? Do you have any questions? Suzanne?
Yes, my turn.
Your
Okay,
turn.
good. I'm in line with Robert. I don't think we're in a position to be aggressive on our cash flow for next year. This was already something that we wanted to do, and we were putting off at least the start of the lease because we knew we didn't have it this year. My question is there anything within that group agreement that precludes us from prepaying? So take a 5-year payment. If, we take off, maybe in year 4 and 5, we have enough cash flow that we can prepay it at that point. But I think we don't have cash flow to make that type of commitment now for a shorter term loan.
Not even a forward?
I don't see why you do it. If we're allowed to prepay them, why do it?
I
Yeah,
think she
if
makes a
we
very
could
good point.
prepay it, then we would set it up as a 5-year, we'd still pay it off in 3 years with a smaller payment year 1, larger payment year 2, larger payment year 3, but we still pay
I mean,
it
if
off.
we have excess
If we have-
cash even at the end
If
of
we-
year 1 or 2, we can apply it towards the payment.
If we go
If
to the
there's no
5-year, can we do it with the stipulation that we can't prepay it? If they will put that in there.
Well, we can ask for anything, and I speculate that they will agree to it.
And if they don't,
That's
I would make this small, then make this one a 3 years.
I mean, I heard that the request was not for us to agree to the terms right now. It was asking us to say what kind of a term we desire. So we're not agreeing to the contract right now anyways.
no, we're agreeing to the term limit for financing.
Well, we're not even agreeing to that because until we get the contract.
Well, in the agenda, that's how it reads.
Yeah, I hear that. I also hear that this isn't actually agreeing to an agreement, so we're just saying we
Agreed
would
to it at the last
desire to
meeting.
have a certain term limit.
Agreed to it at the last meeting.
Okay, is there a motion at this time?
I'll make a motion, we go for a 5-year stipulating that we are looking for a prepayment clause in there.
Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. All of those in favor, please raise your hand.
What was the motion?
Then we go for 5
With a stipulation for prepayment.
with the stipulation.
Yeah.
Okay, we have, you vote for that. That's 3 opposed, 2 opposed. The motion passed. Is there a motion that we adjourn? We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? There's the second. All of those in favor, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Got it. We are adjourned.
Usually the kind of meeting